It's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Today I'm going to show you how to do a quick patch on a pair of jeans. This is not a fancy patch. Small hole in the knee, and I have ripped like where the pocket is on the pants of my work jeans. It like ripped off, so like you can see my bum. So I'm going to do a patch. The one on the knee doesn't really need patched, but in order to sort of like balance out the one I'm going to do over the pocket, I thought I would do one on the knee too. Now, I'm just using a rectangle and a square of fabric, and what I did was, here is the hole. It's more like well, it's a hole, but it's like a fray. So I cut the fabric, you can see, much wider than the fray because I want to give a lot of room in there to be covered up. And these are my work pants, so I'm not doing anything fancy. Now you can do multiple things with a patch. You could use pinking shears to cut it out, and then you could sew around it so then it gets that frayed look that was popular like in the 60s and the 70s, or more in the 70s I guess. Or you can turn it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn in my edges just about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to sew with zigzag around it. And the reason why I'm turning my edges under is so it won't fray, because these are work pants and the rest of the jeans are fine. I'm going to cover that all up with the patch, and it's wide enough that if some more frays happen underneath, I'll be okay. The one on the knee, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just turn the edges under about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to zigzag. Now if you wanted to get really creative, you could use different trims after you sewed on the patch. You could do different trims around it. You could do different contrasting color thread, or you could even use hand embroidery stitches, like like the big sort of like Raggedy Ann and Andy stitches, or like hobo stitches, just lines, or just the zigzag, hand zigzag, whichever one you want to do. I'm probably just going to use the widest set zigzag feature on my machine. And like I said, I just want to get functional here. I have the platform comes off, and it has like a sleeve thing, so it's narrow, so if you're doing sleeves or whatever, it makes it easier. Going to position this where I want it. I'm just going to do it sort of sideways, just for a little bit of a whimsy. And when you're sewing denim, sometimes it can be a little difficult, and you might have to what's called walk your you might have to walk your pedal over it to avoid breaking a needle. Or you can also just lift it up and skip that part, and then go back and do that part by hand too. I'm going to set mine the widest stitches here. Nice and easy over that one seam. Some seams are easier than others. Jeans are a little tricky. Okay, when you get to the one end, make sure you give yourself a little space to go under there and fold, or you can pin ahead of time too. I said I'm not doing anything fancy. Okay, so I'm going to leave my needle in the fabric, lift my foot, and I'm going to rotate my fabric. Back down. Unless you pop all the seams, and I have made like rumba jeans for my little girls when they were little, with like ruffles and stuff, so then you pop the side seams in order to get into there and work around. But if you don't do that, then you got a little bit of maneuvering here and there that has to be done. Because there are so many seams on jeans. Flat seams are the mostly decorative thing there. At this point, I'm going to take my pin out so I can make sure I'm pulling my fabric flat underneath. It's not bunched up. And like I said, you can get all kinds of fancy with this if you wanted to, but patch on. I just don't want my bottom to be showing while I'm working, so that's my goal here. See the inside, use the dark thread, it's just a square, and the outside, it's just a square. Now you could get really creative. You could do it like another. You could make a flower here. You could do. I briefly thought about putting one of these flowers on here and zigzagging around it, but I think that I'm just going to leave these like this because, like I said, they are just work pants. If I had planned on wearing these somewhere else, I think I would probably do more about it. What I am going to do is I'm going to stitch an X across this pocket just to keep the fabric on a little better since they are work pants. I'm just going to do to a straight stitch. I just want, this is just for strength. And I've done like an X through them. It's just because it was such a large patch that I wanted to just, you know, I don't want that fabric to come off in the wash or, you know, rip again, get caught on something, so it just secures it more to the pants. Now on the knee, I'm going to do, it's just a small hole. Doing patches on jeans without popping the flat seams, but I really don't feel like going through that much trouble with these. Important thing is to try to get it as flat as possible so your fabric under your patch is not all bunched up. Alright. So if you wanted to pop your stitches, you would go inside here. You see it has like a double, it's they've finished the seam. So here is the actual seam. You see the gold. So you just take your seam ripper, you can go in there and pop the seam all the way up to wherever you're putting your patch on. And then you put your you've got a flat piece of jean leg at that point, and you put your patch on. Then you have to go back and inside and re-sew your seam of your leg. I don't want to mess with that because these are, like I said, these are just my work pants. So just not into that much work for these pants. So as a result of me not wanting to do that extra work to pop all those stitches and redo that leg and everything, I'm having to, you know, do some twisting and turning here to get up into that pants leg. Because it's been annoying trying to get that up the sleeves. I think I'm going to take like this bright yellow thread and I'm going to hand embroidery an X through there. Okay, so I've got some bright yellow embroidery floss, and I went up through the pants legs so the knot is on the other side. I'm going to do a straight stitch in an X. So there's the little knee patch. It's nothing fancy. It just patches the hole in my work pants, and the one on the knee just sort of acts to balance it out. That's all there is to it. Now I can keep wearing my work pants for a while. Now the cute thing is, well, cute if you're into this thing. if I get, usually when you get a rip, so in this fabric of this denim, if you wanted to, I could have gone and zigzagged the rip together first and then covered it up for extra strength, but I'm not that concerned about that. Like I said, work pants. So you could even do if another rips, like say along this pocket, I can do another piece of fabric. Maybe like say if this was fabric, it's not, but you could lay it at a different angle and then zigzag it around with different. You can have multiple patches. It's cute. Or you could just do that for decoration too. Or like if I wanted to with the flower, I could have taken the flower and you could sew it, a different spot. Also do rickrack around there. You could do lace. I've done all kinds of things for when I'm doing it, but these are just strictly work pants. I just want my pants to last longer. So that's all there was to it. It was just zigzag across. It was hard to get them up through the little sleeve thing on the sewing machine, so if I didn't have a whole pile of mending to do, I probably would have maybe just done it by hand. But those are the patches, and not hard to do. Hope that helped you a little bit. Patches are a thing. Some people hate them. Some people, do a lot. Like I said, you can do. There's a lot of things with little porcelain buttons and ceramic buttons. You can do little seams. You could do rickrack for water and do a duck button on it. There's our little patch, and it was just a little easy tutorial, just using just a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. Thanks for joining me. Bye.